one thing that was a significant surprise in the Marsh call today, one, that Davies was ruled out, but paired that to his optimism when it comes to Promise David. The Canadian striker suffered a hip muscle injury back on February 21st. We're 3 months out, and Jesse Marsh was pretty confident proclaiming that the player looks good and saying that he is in line to be in the squad for the team that's going to play on June 12th.
He is looking incredibly strong. So he trained all last week here with us. He did a lot of fitness. He looks fitter than he's ever looked since we've known him. He looks as close to 100% as we could hope. He's going to make the squad, and he's going to be ready for June 12th. I'm certain of that. So he's had a really good week. He's put a lot of hard work into his nutrition, his sleep, his recovery, his gym work. He's been very diligent, which is, we all know the personality of Toby, and to see his level of desire and commitment to get himself ready has been a revelation for, I think, him. And so we're going to use that in all right ways, but he's going to be ready. He'll be ready June 12th.
This would go down as a remarkable recovery, because Union Saint-Gilloise, his club side, were a little bit vague in terms of what this injury looked like and what surgery would look like. It was initially diagnosed 3 to 5 months, but the recovery was slated as potentially being up to 6 months. Now Marsh is elated in terms of what he's bringing to the table, and has declared he will be part of the team. That surprised me at the very least. Jordan, does this surprise you?
Absolutely. And I find it very ironic because he was lavishing praise in terms of Promise David and his work ethic, sleep, nutrition, his diligence, all these things, in my opinion, this is just from me, not from anyone else, that probably left Promise David out to some degree of why he didn't play more minutes in this Jesse Marsh tenure as he was getting and gearing up ready for this World Cup. But now all of a sudden you're looking at, quote unquote, Jesse Marsh said, the fittest that he's seen him coming back from an injury. This 6'5" monster ready to go play bully ball and maybe finish a match is the fittest you've ever seen him. As much as this Alphonso Davies news was expected and it hurts, this Promise David news has to get the fans excited, because I put him out of my 26 based on I didn't think he'd be ready. If he's the fittest that he's ever been, come on now. We're excited about this type of news. We're excited about this information. And more importantly, now Jesse Marsh is in a position where you're not looking at the bench and be like, ooh, should I play Promise David? If you said he's the fittest he's ever been, he understands your philosophy, he can score goals or create goals more than anyone else can, or feels that way, and you have confidence in him, it looks like Promise David will be ready on June 12th and will have significant moments and minutes for Canada, and that is what we need.
Yeah, that was one of the two most notable things, I think, aside from Alfonso's status, obviously, that I took from his press conference was how he spoke about Promise David. Like Jordan said, the table seems to have completely turned here in terms of how Promise David is viewed, from barely playing at all and fans clamoring to see more of him to Jesse Marsh, really kind of pumping his tires in terms of not just that he'll be in the squad, but he'll be ready for the first game. He's the fittest that he's ever looked, like Jordan said. And then another answer he gave where he was asked, how many players has he actually got who he knows are going to be in the World Cup squad right now going into this week of camp. And Jesse Marsh said he didn't really know, and it was tough to tell because of decisions that he's going to have to make of, does he have to take an extra defender at the expense of an attacking player because of the injuries and so on? It becomes a really interesting numbers game. If Promise David is in and locked in, is someone else now out? What does that mean for Daniel Jebison? What does that mean for players who are maybe trying to get in the first place, like Jacob Schaffelberg, like Jason Russell-Rowe? Does he take 4 strikers or 5? There are some really interesting questions there that I think, as he alluded to in that press conference, probably depend a little bit on the health at the other end of the pitch and how many defenders he's going to take as well. So that was a really interesting development, I thought.
And Ollie, to your point, where do you trim the fat? Like we documented how many left wingers there are, wingers in general. Do you sacrifice one of them, a Schaffelberg or a player that can maybe pull up in a big moment? Just because I picked 4 strikers, I said 4 is enough. But now, Wheels, I'm inclined to kind of agree with you that you might have to do 5. Like it could be a situation now, guys, where you're like, Promise David looking fit, healthy, but Jebo as well, end of the season, has something different. Like, you're leaving him at home. Like, he's also a guy who's shown his quality as well. So there are big decisions to make, and the defenders in that situation aren't really helping out the attackers right now, because you have to look at the defense. You have to make sure that you're accounted for in the back line. You can't take any risk.
Just really quickly, that was another really interesting part I thought on the wing, was that he talks about Ali Ahmed's getting back to full fitness, who no one's really been talking about in terms of his injury. And another thing related to that I think is interesting is he said that he told Jaden Nelson he wouldn't be in the squads, and now he's in camp. Like, is there a link there? Is there a reason for that? You're trying to kind of put the pieces together, but that was an interesting one too, I thought.
Well, he mentioned that about Ralph Priso as well. Look, I mean, we all like Promise David. He brings something different to the table, but I'm going to play the wait and see game here, because I do think it's a little bit crazy to expect players, more than one, players, multiple, who haven't played for months, to just be World Cup ready by potentially playing a couple of friendlies against Uzbekistan and Ireland. It's a big ask for these players, and I understand how much they want to be there, and I understand how much Marsh, he cares about these guys, wants to include them as well. But I think that there needs to be some calculated risks that I think you also need to mitigate risk in a certain way.
Would you mind just going through some of the other injured guys, Moyes?
How much time do we have,
Well,
Josh?
we're here all week.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll go through all of them.
Yeah.
Moyes is trending in an incredibly positive direction. He played 32 minutes in our test match on Sunday against Charlotte Independence. He's feeling great. He's looking great. He's looking like himself more and more every day. He's going to have a full week of training, and I think be ready for minutes in the Uzbekistan, maybe even 45. Let's see how the week trends. Alfie Jones, we've made incredible progress with. He's been in our camp or in our care for over 2 weeks. And we think we identified the exact problem that's going on. And so he'll be in a lot of full training this week, and I think be preparing himself to be ready for the squad. And we'll see how the week goes. Ali Ahmed is ahead of schedule, we think, trending in a really good way. He'll be in parts of training this week. Richie Larea is ready to be in full training. And we think he'll be ready for minutes against Uzbekistan for sure. Shaf, we haven't seen yet, but we've been in very close contact with LAFC. And we're hopeful that they say that they think, based on all of the on the table measurements and tests, that he is ahead of schedule. And he has I think a history of recovering quickly. So we're hopeful. We'll see what that looks like. And we're hopeful there. Ralph Priso played minutes. He's looking good. Luke is out of concussion protocol and should be ready to start training with us. Derek has looked good this week. Alistair finished with 2 90-minute matches in his season. He's feeling really good and positive. That's pretty much everyone, I think, right? Yeah.
This is a big deal for me, because I think that we're missing the point a little bit here. It's one thing with players being healthy. It's another to expect them to be ready to play high intensity football in the biggest competition potentially in their lives, in potentially some very difficult conditions as well. It's a big ask for a number of these players, Ollie, especially when you're considering, he's already mentioned about Alphonso Davies, there might have to be minutes limitations or usage limitations on how these players might show themselves at the World Cup. How big of concern was that lengthy list for you? And what do you make of it?
It's more of a concern to me, other than Ahmed, who I'm not exactly sure where he's at. They said I think he would be back in full training this week, so we'll see. But it's more of a concern for me overall in defense, because I think with Promise David, you can take him knowing that you have Carl Aaron, you have Tani Oluwaseyi, and Promise can be kind of your weapon that you can use off the bench, and being absolutely 100% match fit isn't necessarily so much of an issue for him. But it's the defenders, like, not just in terms of who is going to be available and who's not going to be, which is the most important thing, especially with someone like Moise Bombito, but also how many defenders do you then have to take, and where does that start to eat into your depth and your ability to select players at other positions? So, Bombito, it sounds like, is trending towards having a chance for June 12th. He played 30 minutes in a friendly they played locally. Sounds like they might try and get him 45 against Uzbekistan. So you would think that they're maybe able to build him up towards being in contention for Bosnia. Cornelius, I guess, is just a match fitness question, because he hasn't played. De Fugero out of concussion protocol. So you think if you have those three, I think they'll take Joel Waterman as well, just because he's been consistently healthy and in the squad recently. That hopefully gives you a little bit of a foundation, and then you have to make a decision on Alfie Jones. But it's an imperfect situation, to say the least, at the back.
It's risky. Like,
It's-
I mean, going into the World Cup with so many question marks, I just wonder if you need to mitigate that by taking some players that at least right now, are 100% match fit, not healthy, Jordan, but
Who are
match
they,
fit, rare to go.
Yeah, no, that's the question right there. Who are the 100% locked in match fit? Because I think the players that are in good standing or are on the come up and they're coming back around to feeling like their best self would be like an Alistair Johnson, who, by the way, has been injured for a very, very long time. We're looking at players like that as well.
It's one of the fit ones.
You
Yeah.
think like these are it's time is everything. It's like it's mind-boggling how depleted the back line has been. And I'm not even going to try to get into chemistry in terms of you want to make sure that the person that you're looking next to or across from on June 12th is someone that you've battle tested with recently. Like, it might be a whole different back four that hasn't really played that much together. I'm sure they'll still get the job done. But again, just for confidence and feeling good, you want to make sure that everything's lined up. I look at the defense situation as well. Wheels, I'm kind of with you, like looking at the fact that you might have to just bring in people that are for sure. You might have to now. We're getting to that point, like that are locked in and ready to go and contribute. So it's bleak. And you could see it. I feel like when Jesse Marsh was speaking, I think he's gone through like contingency plan and he's gonna wait and see. He seemed very optimistic, which I think for a manager at this time is good. But what stuck out to me is what he said as well, is like, we got to have a meeting tomorrow just about the positivity, right? Whether that's burning sage, whether that's having a little bit of a Kumbaya moment, just to be like, look, no matter what has got us to this moment, we are here. Let's like push forward and make things happen. But in a normal match, you're not really subbing off defenders like that, right? You're maybe adding a third or playing five in the back. You're not taking out two center backs 60 minutes into a match. So at some point, he's going to have to gamble on certain players and they're going to have to earn his trust and make him believe that they're ready. But there's a lot that could happen in this little short time.
What choices does he have though? Really, like, who are the for sures? It's Waterman and Knight.
Waterman. Yeah,
right.
I mean,
yeah, at center back, yes, but then it's also fullback as well. I think that's why Basong puts himself into the equation. Well, Priso at the very least played a competitive game of football, at least part of it, this week for the Vancouver Whitecaps as well. So I just. Yeah, there's going to be some serious diagnosis going on at camp. There will be risks, but I think that you need to be able to mitigate that risk somehow, some way. Yeah, they said they're going to have like a ceremony together to put the good vibes in the room. Have you seen the movie Major League? Someone gets Serrano a chicken. Like, that's what he's come to right now. I don't know what the Canada equivalent to Serrano and the chicken is.
Guys, we say that, but like, Moise Bambito's going, like Cornelius is going. Like, I feel like we're at this point.
Yeah,
you know?
but
like
Alfie Jones is a difficult one for. He's been with the group now for a couple of weeks, but I don't know. He hasn't played in 2026. That's the name that jumps off the page. We'll see.
Yeah.